I'll go to my dashboard, go to this assignment. Show here. Guide blocks, next one. It's pretty much the same. I do think I do a front, top, and right side and an isometric on this one. So I do lay this one down in its most stable part position, but there's an argument. I think I mentioned that yesterday. You could do, I think there's multiple selections. I think you could kind of orient this one how we did that last block, the positioner. Let me open my, let me just open the file that we're working from here. Yeah, I know the original way I drew this was I placed this down as the base, as my bottom surface, a nice flat surface. It doesn't make a very detailed front view though. Everything's kind of hidden in the front view actually. All I'm going to see is like this surface. So there's an argument that and maybe I'll change my role here. Maybe, but you could, I think that's how I talked through I was going to do it, and I did it like that last year. But I think kind of based off the way I did that last part, yeah, I would actually have better part I'd have better part definition if I had the front view be, this is maybe in this view, this is maybe considered the right side view. I think I might set it down as my base on the left side view with this slot front in the front view. So what it's laying on right now, I'm going to maybe consider it the front view. And then it'll be kind of this block that's standing up on edge. And anyway, I think it's an arguable one. Which one would be the better front view? And maybe the person that would win is, it seems like stability kind of wins a lot, but we kind of broke the rule of stability on that last view for definition. So maybe I'm going to break the rule a little bit here for the best defined look of the features of the part in the front view. And it's just a change up for me from last year. And once I do it this way, I'll decide if I like it or not. But again, it has some surface finishes I'm not going to worry about. It's calling out different surfaces. It's kind of got a strange tolerance here. I'm not going to worry about that so much. I'll let this be my master tolerance block. It's not the same tolerance for, so that's a little bit, if this truly was delivered, I probably should have deleted this. I really didn't want it to show up on there, but honestly, if this did show up, I would need to adjust my tolerance block because they're not the same tolerance for two decimal places, 15 thousandths versus 10 thousandths. So we're close, but not exact. Yeah. But this thing is what, 3 by 0.78 by 1.75. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna, yeah, I'll just use the box. And let's look at this. So I'm gonna go to my drawing space here. This is going to be front view, right? When we drew that other one, we drew it in here, and it really matches this view cube, but this is front view. So if I'm going to do, so I'm going to make this, so I'm kind of pre-planning a little bit. This is going to be my front view, and it's going to be a box shape. I'm going to go to my visible object layer, make sure I'm on that. Yep, visible object, box shape. I think I can start with that and then do some cutting shapes, but so like I said, I think I'm going to kind of do this one that's like 3 inches this way, and then the narrow, I'll zoom in here a little bit, the narrow way this way, and then I'll kind of, it'll stand up on kind of a skinny edge a little bit, but 0.78. Then the height of this block is 1.75, 1 3/4. I'm changing the orientation, yes. For sure the orientation they give you, it's laying down on, like it's probably the it's a stable part position for sure, but maybe it buries everything. It buries that slot kind of. It's stable, but this one's better defined. To me, it just kind of matches that last block that I just did in some ways.
Can you do that again? That is not how I thought it was.
I'm gonna do it.
So I would.
Well, it's okay if you did. And so, because I think I talked through a different way. So I don't, yeah, the other way I was going to do it, I think yesterday I talked, and so either one, I'll draw it both ways. How about that? And then you can pick which one you want in your drawing. But the other way you could draw this to me is laying it down and say that it's still 3 that way, and then it's 1.75 this way, right? And then we have this little thing that's only 0.78 like this. And this is going to be my front view. It's not going to be a very defined front view, right? It's going to have, the holes and the slot will be hidden in this view of front, but it'll be a very stable part position. You'll have our holes here. We'll have the little U channel cut right here. And so it's just that your front view doesn't show very good definition, but it's super part stable. And so I think it's a totally fine way. It's the way I drew it last year was this way. You turned it this way. And the only reason why I wouldn't choose this way is because that breaks another rule, and that usually your front view is the longest width in the front view of your part. But I'm going to break that rule on the shaft. So it's like we know these rules, we kind of know how to break them. I think I would say the best two options though would be this for a front view or this one for a front view. And I do generally try to avoid for the most part, any narrow width front views and add that because you'd have this really like long top view kind of. And it's not bad. I mean, it's just, you condense your views a little bit if this is going to be your top view. This is going to be front and top, maybe a little bit more compact view than front and top. But I think drafters would great debate this for a while. If you know how the part's going to be inspected and if it's an inspectable part, then maybe this is the better part position flat. But in that other drawing we have here, that would make, if I'm looking at this one, the same thing could be said. But this one shows the best part detail, has the longest width as well. However, it'd be more stable if I laid down, if it laid down on this side. It won't let me rotate that way. It's really weird. If I laid it down like this, though, maybe. So you could make an argument this would have been the better front view. It has some part detail, super part stable, and yeah. So the reason why I'm kind of changing mine is because I drew this one this way. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll kind of consider that concept here, and maybe I'll draw this one that way. Let's spin around. I'm okay with either one though. Yeah. Yeah. The biggest thing that I'm kind of watching is that this is going to be my front view here, this front view cube. So that's going to be the view that comes in when I place when I go to send this to model space. It's going to be driven by this being the front. We have that, when we initially place that part on our drawing, we have an orientation where we can change that. So it's not the end of the world. I can always change it later. I can even reorient the UCS in the model space like this. I could move this to be what I want it to be and lock it in on a corner of my and I haven't really shown that yet. It maybe gets a little confusing. Maybe when we get back into GD&T, we'll talk about that. But either way, what I want to do is, so I'm going to do this way. If you do this way, it's fine. It's going to be the same features I got to put in this thing. I'm just going to draw the cut that comes through here, and I'll just draw it on this end here. I'll draw it as construction. So maybe I'll just do like a construction line first up to where I need to go. It's like a half inch up on my drawing. I'm looking at how that's going to be a half inch. And then this width here is going to be 0.75. Don't worry about this nominal size. There's RC4. Hopefully that comes back. But hey, RC-4, something to do with tolerances there. That's the type of class of fit it is. It's an RC-4 class of fit. We don't have to worry about that on this particular. I'm just going to worry about dimensions only on this. So you don't have to include this either. But so I'll just go a half inch and then 3/4, and then it's 375, 372s. Oh, they threw a fractional dimension there. This, yeah, this fraction does not look correct to me, right? That's like an improper fraction. Oh, maybe
Give the dimension.
Oh, I yeah, it is it's a limit dimension. You're right. But generally limit dimensions don't have a like a fraction between a bar between them, right? They're just two dimensions. So that's kind of misleading there. I kind of forgot that it has that on it, but you're right. It is a limit dimension. I'll go to just 375. It's the nice, it's a 3/8 dimension. So but you could choose either one of those two dimensions because I don't think I'm going to do, yeah, we're going to do it just to kind of I'm going to do it at 375. Keep it simple. Yeah. When we come back in with our GD&T stuff later, and that's even if we decide to do it because we have other GD&T stuff that's maybe better in Inventor anyway. I just kind of wanted to go through it like in GD&T and show you where that the symbols are, the symbols library to add them to your drawing in CAD. I think it's nice to know that, but and so we'll deal with the particulars about these parts later at a later time. So I'll make it 375. Yes, I like it. Good. Glad. Hey, good job, you guys. Because I'm like, that doesn't make sense if it's a fraction. Okay. I think I'm on board now. And I'm just going to do like my slot's going to be cut this way. So I'm going to come up here like a half inch from this. I got to reference the right, or not necessarily, maybe this is correct. 0.5. Yeah, I got to reference the right face if I'm going to draw this way, right? I got to reference the face, lock into a point, make sure I get the same. I am on the wrong face. I got to like, how about I spin that thing out of my way? There we go. I just hid that face so I could get to the right face. Yes. Draw up 0.5. That's 0.5 up. And then I'm going to come over this way. 0.375. Yeah. And then they're 3/4 of an inch deep. And back to here perpendicular. And then I'm going to close this shape off though so I can use it as a cut or something. Enter. So now I've got that shape. That's not all joined. I think I can still select it as a press pull with just the pieces. Let me try this. I'm going to try to press pull this and cut it through. It wants to know which, oh yeah, it'll select that one as maybe a boundary. Is that the only one? Yeah, it will. That's good. Even that, I didn't use polyline there. I think I just used line, but it still will recognize that shape as pulling through here. And then I'm probably going to enter a dimension, which is the 3 inch, and then I cut it out. If yours added a solid, that's okay. Just do the subtraction. And then I just got to cut two circles, right? So I'm just going to lay those out probably from the back side here, from this surface. Let me see what those dimensions are. 3/4 of an inch over. And is that centered? I think that's centered then, because it'll be 3/4 inch off each side. 1.5 inches between 3/4 and 3/4 would be 1.5 inches. So this is, yep. These are kind of centered that way. And then this direction, are they even labeled? They were center. Yes. You'd have to call your engineer and be like, hey, are these centered? Right, right. Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna assume they're centered too. So that's centered in 1 3/4. That's a half plus 3/8. Is that 7/8? Yeah. 0.875. Half of 1 3/4. When in doubt, use your calculator, right? 7/8, 875. Okay. So it doesn't matter which end I come in on my block necessarily. It's not specific. I can come in this way or this other way. I think I'm just gonna lay out some more lines from this surface though. Yeah, I strategically like roll this around. If I'm going to reference this surface and this other one keeps coming up when I go to here, maybe I'm just going to get it out of my view. Then what are we going up? 3/7/8, 0.875. And I'm just going to draw a line that is first 0.75 over. Yes. And then another line that's going to be 1.5 over. So I should have endpoints of those lines now. I've got two segments on this line. Let me see. This can be hard, so I can go over to wireframe, and I can see my individual lines. Yeah, that should have an endpoint, I think. This one should have an endpoint. I think I drew them not as polylines, but I think they'll still have an endpoint there to put a circle through. And the diameter of that, I didn't look, is 0.56 diameter. 0.56. You could do cylinder. You could do a cylinder shape because you have a center point. It wants to know where the center is. I should have a center point on this line somewhere, maybe if I have a grip. Maybe not so good on that. Right there, I think I saw it. Probably gonna be easier to see in this though. I don't know if I'm going to do cylinder. That should be a solid. Like this is the difference. I think this will be a solid if I use this center from this. There's my endpoint there. And it wants to know the diameter of that, which we said is 0.56. Oh, this is radius, right? So 0.56 divided by 2, or we can go diameter. Let's just do that. Diameter, yes. 0.56. And how deep does it need to go? I don't know. It's going to be a cut. This is one that you could cut through. You could like look here and be like, oh, I'll just cut it a little bit long. If I cut it a half inch thick, it will cut through long like this. But I think this is going to be a solid. Let me look. Yeah, for sure these are going to add solids, which is not a problem too, right? Just remember you can subtract this one, enter from this one. Oh, maybe I didn't get it. This could be a little tricky too. I get it on my wireframe. I'm going to subtract this one from this one. Now I've got to cut through there. And I'll do my other one the other way, which might be just to draw the shape there on that. So if I just draw a circle shape, circle by this endpoint here, or I could have moved that over before I did it, I guess. There's a lot of things I could have done different. There's that one. Here's my circle shape on that surface. Diameter, yeah. 0.56. And then I can press pull that thing, press pull that shape through this way. Oh, I can go the same distance, 0.5. That should be a cut through. So done deal. Doesn't have any chamfers or anything. No, I don't think so. And let's dimension that thing out. Yeah, so then I'm going to go over to my visible object layer so I don't put it on the wrong layer. I can turn off my construction work. Okay, and place that base view from model space. I was going to show you this. I have two objects in here. So let me just show you the difference. Like I generally am going to place them from model space because if you're on your paper space and you use that same command, you have the same home tab and you have this, you place this from model space. It brings in everything you have here, right? So it brings in the entire model space into the paper space. We can select though. I think if this is the option where select comes in handy. If you go into select and it'll be like, oh, I think if I just hold down shift and select that, I will unselect that. So then I hit enter. So that's how that select when you're first setting when you're first setting the view. And if you bring it in from paper space, it's going to bring in the entire model space. The top boxes go back and select the actual objects you wanted. So it's the tomato way. Did you go to wireframe? It'll be hard to select some of those solids that are overlapping each other so close. It's one of the reasons why sometimes maybe I'll draw it not on the exact surface, but off the surface a little bit. But I didn't. I drew it right on the surface. But yeah, wireframe is your friend because it'll get into those. you can get in these particular like line segments that are for those. Yeah. I feel like I'm using a shaded view and a wireframe view quite a bit, toggling back and forth between them. Just because I can't tell if it cut it or not here. I mean, I think if I used it enough to know, I think I could tell that it is cut, but the only problem in wire view is sometimes you can't tell if you've cut or left or not. So let me see. And I'll do maybe I'll try to do another cut here of these ones if I go back to my shaded with edges. So did you do a drawing or are you doing like are you using the box commands, the solid commands, or are you doing a drawing and a press pull? Yeah, so but the second one it's not. Yeah, I did mine as construction. Um
Work for the, and also, fine when people, there's one when I try to make it, it's in the structure line and it doesn't make it.
resume my recording here. Let's see here. There could be a reason to make a layer to add these to your layout, but so what I'm showing you is there's multiple ways to add this to your layout. So I have nothing on my layout, deleted my viewport, and this is the way I usually add mine to my layout is I usually add it from model space because I come in here and I say I'm ready to add something to model space. Even if I have a bunch of stuff here, I just say base view from model space. It always wants you to select those objects. So in this case, if you had multiple objects like I do, I'm just going to select this one that I want to put on my drawing. And then I hit enter. And then it's going to say, which drawing sheet do you want? And this only really applies if you have multiple drawing sheets. And if you use the arrow keys, you can toggle between which drawing sheet you want to put this on. I'm going to put it on my B size sheet, which is by default what's loading in my cursor anyway. So once I hit that, it just jumps to that sheet and it gives me control of this object. And then it wants you to know this is your parent view, this is your base view. It's also going to come in as the front view. So I kind of selectively chose my front view when I built my object. So it's built so it's this orientation. So there was a little bit of pre-planning. Oh yeah, it's gonna take a minute to do that. Yeah, you gotta let that load. First time you're using it every day, it's gonna make you do that. No, because I'll just show a couple more things. Because this is way, and then you just click once, left click to set it, and you get this. You always get this once you set the first view, and you can do, and this is when you get the orientation change. It's like the only time you'll get it when you place the parent view. It'll allow you to change your orientation if you didn't draw it in the right orientation. If you weren't expecting that to be your front view, you can actually change that. It tells you that that is the front view that it's placed the way you drew it in model space. However, you could kind of like override that and say, actually, I drew that wrong, and I just want to make this my front view, right? And so you have some options to change this here. Yeah. What am I doing? Just this. I'm just placing this for model space. And I'm sitting enter. And I'm choosing the sheet, which my sheet is just only one. I just hit enter and it goes to that sheet. And then I just left click. The first thing they want you to do is just place where the parent view is going to go. And mine's going to be kind of the traditional front, top, right side view. It's just that when you get this is where you have some control over that orientation to change. If you don't like how that looks, then maybe pick a different orientation here, which you have your rights and your lefts. You could place it on the bottom, or you could place it on the top here. Sorry, select that one. Orientation. But the one that I want is my front because I drew mine in the front view. And then the rest you can get to. The only thing you really can never get back to is the orientation on the parent view, I think. The rest you could always get back to this. So if you don't have the scale right now or the line types correct, we can come back to this. This is just editing the view later. And so to me, it doesn't matter too much. You can hit exit. and then it goes into placing those other views. So I don't know, with this orientation, I probably can just get away with just a front and right side view, honestly. If I do the other orientation where this was my front, then I probably do need to place the top and to define the kind of the slot details. Here, I think I'm okay. I just need the isometric view as well here, like this. I'm just left clicking these, and that's just placing them. And then when I'm done placing views, I just hit enter, and then they're going to show up. I think default's going to be show the visible and hidden lines. I feel like I need to scale up. At least I need to scale up my detailed views, the ones I'm going to dimension. But the other thing I'm going to show you, just to confuse you, is that just so you know different ways, that's me placing this from model space, right? And then selecting my models. If you place these views if you're on the drawing sheet and you use that base view setting, it's just going to bring in, by default, it's going to bring in everything that you've modeled in model space, which if you've only modeled one thing, it's not the end of the world. You can just bring it in then. Because it's like, but I have multiple things modeled over there. So it's going to bring them all in, everything, kind of in that same view style. Once I place that view, I can go to select and jump back out. And so you can see that by default it's selected. And if I would have had a bunch more drawn, it would have selected everything. So I'm just going to hold down shift and select this. That's how you deselect stuff from a selection. Hold down shift, select. And then I just hit enter and it will be only that one object now. So even if you go the other way, you always have the select menu up. So you can always choose to, even if you didn't get everything selected right to detail how you want to do it, you could hit any of these views. Select is another option that you can always get back into. And you could reselect stuff that you did want to detail on your drawing. So I know that's confusing because we generally have one part in model space, but in reality, you might have multiple parts in model space working together, kind of building an assembly, maybe, which is what I'd like to do. If I added another week of learning to 3D, we'd maybe start making an assembly, but probably not this time around. So I'm just going to say exit this. I just need to place my other views, which I think I decided with my orientation that I chose, I'm able to get away with these three views, I think, and I'm just going to detail these ones out. So I'm kind of back to where I was, only I came at it from another direction, kind of. I'm going to scale this. This is the parent scales, first one you draw, or the parent view. It's the first one I dropped. So I'm going to edit it. Whether you get it to here, I right click sometimes and go here, edit my view. Brings up that same little thing here. I'm going to adjust the scale for sure. This is at a 1 scale, maybe at a 2 scale. Well, 2 scales maybe a little bit big. I think I'll probably go to a 1.5 scale again, similar to the positioner that I did. Something like that I like. I might even leave that at a 1.5. I think that's fine with my room that I have. I'm just gonna edit my. I think I'm gonna leave this. This is the way I want the visit or the. This is the lines that I want to show up in my orthographic views are visible and hidden lines. I want those to show there, so I'm okay with that. So I feel like I can escape that once I've kind of scaled it up. And this one here, I don't want those hidden lines to show. So I'm going to kind of break that relationship by editing the view here as well. Edit view. I'm going to change that view from hidden lines to just show visible lines. Visible lines. And exit. You know, if you're only sharing PDFs with your organization and you're not ever printing these to paper, then you know you might work in some places where they say you can shade your isometric views, which would just be choosing not just visible lines, but shaded with visible lines. Looks like this. So it might be less common, but some companies do shade some views if they're never printing them. Obviously, if I'm paying for toner, I don't want to print all that shaded and use up my ink, but I think that's the primary argument against putting shaded stuff on your drawing is just because of the ink toner issue. And yeah, you're going to cost a lot of money for nothing, maybe because your other view that's just lines is kind of shows it too. But anyway, it's just
shaded in yourself.
yeah, can do your shading. Yes. Yeah, there is some shading going on here. Totally. And other than that, I'm just going to detail. So I don't care if you leave your isometrics like this because you know, yeah, even if we do print a few of them, it's not going to be the end of the world. So, or you can just leave them as lines as well as too. But I do need to change my line types here again, right? It's going to have those same layers where I just have visible and hidden on this one. Yeah, so I just need to make sure I'm going to change these ones again. I know this is kind of annoying. I probably could set this up. I probably could change the parameters, but for our simple views, yes. For something that I was really detailing, I would want to, you know, set up my space here so that these are coming in as I want them. So they're not just default values. But really it's, yeah, this one only has a couple different line types. Hidden, I put to 1.3, and then mostly I want to change my color of my hidden lines to green. But in all reality, it's the line weight that's probably more important than the line color. And some center marks for sure. Heck yes, center mark, center mark. Maybe some center mark extensions. Maybe match properties. It's just an MA match prop coming up from this one to this one. And I do need a center line there too, right? Through this here. My center line? I did. I changed this, my isometric view. Yeah. Yeah, these are my orthographic views over here. Yeah. You're about going to make me panic at the end of the semester. What? You call that an orthographic? No, I'm just, I say the wrong things all the time. We're going back to week one and we're starting over. I think I've got those extended, right? Did I extend them? Sorry. What did I do that you didn't? Yeah. Oh yeah, this is just so in the view, always on the I select the view and I can go to edit view. It's going to bring up that little box somewhere. I don't know where. It always shows up somewhere that you can barely see it because it's white. But it stays up while you're working on it. But it is the hidden. It'll say, I don't know why it always says hidden lines here. It just seems like I wish it said what I'm on, but it doesn't. It's kind of weird. But so yeah, the one that says lines is kind of you have these options. So I selected that hidden lines where it said, and then I've got visible lines, visible and hidden lines, shaded with visible lines, or shaded with visible and hidden lines. Or I can go from parent and just like make the parent drive that style. So that's it. Yeah, it's cool, actually. Yeah. No, that's good. That's it. That's good to know. That's what we want to know. And then I just need to dimension the heck out of this thing. So I'm really just ready to dimension. Um, oh, maybe I'll dimension the width here, height here, the depth here. Let's see how many I have that are not associated. Is it 1.17? Is that what my dimension is? Got my annotation. It's 7.8. Oh, 0.78. Yeah, it shows wrong and then it shows right, but then it's also got an issue. That's okay. Leave it for a minute. I'll get my other dimensions in. I've got a feature, like a main slot feature here. So I just need to know its size and location. So I'm going to locate it from the base. That's how I'm going to do it from here. Locate up. Oh, I never did add that. I was going to add the degrees on the last drawing for a reference degree, but it's not totally necessary, but that one should be 0.75, I think. Oh no, it's coming right. It's just kind of funny. It's like applying the scale until it like, yeah. That it's kind of annoying though. That is kind of misleading until you drop the dimension. You're kind of afraid to drop it because it looks wrong. When they're Yeah, see that one kind of goes funny, huh? I'll leave it for a minute. I don't know which one's having my problem moving. That one actually moves pretty good that way. So it must be in the Y direction that's having trouble moving. And this, oh yeah, I should show you. These are orthographically always aligned. You can break that though. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to break it, but there are ways to break the orthographic alignment between views. So let me see if I remember how to do this. I think it's just within in the edit the view panel. Let me look at that for a minute. I do remember this, or I should know. This should be. I should be able to break this. I'll look for this. I think I'm gonna have to do this on one of my views at some point. Break the relationship. Maybe I can't on these views, but I thought I could. I'll come back to that. I'm pretty sure I can. Let me just look it up. I just want to be. I know I can break these view relationships so they don't. Hmm, I'll come back to that though. Maybe I'm thinking just my detail and my section views. I can break that for sure. I can on those. I can do removed details and removed section views. Maybe my main views I can't move them out of orthographic alignment. So I mean, there's not a reason. There's not a good reason why I should here anyway. But okay, so I have that. I need to locate. Um, this one is not helping me out, is it? Leave it. I think I have more issues here on this one. Let's see, but that is the correct dimension. That one, that one. I just need my width. Whether I consider, like, I would consider, oh, maybe my back surface is a better surface than my front surface has. Because to me, because my front surface has two different surfaces that are associated with it. So it's kind of, I don't know, like I might consider that I like this dimension better. Just because I'm pulling off the back to the location of that. I know that's a little bit weird, and that's not the dimensions that were given on that, but I'm kind of pulling from, yeah. It just gets complicated when I have a front that has like these two separated kind of surfaces right here. Um, and then if I'm dimensioning from them, so I chose to dimension from that solid back surface to that. I can put in reference dimensions that are cleaner, right? It's 3/4 or it's 3/8 this way. It looks a little cleaner, but um, interesting. And one of the other reasons is, I mean, they are in GD&T, we are going to call surface A. They are kind of saying this is a good control surface, is what this assignment is made for GD&T in some ways. And so they're kind of showing you that surface A is going to be this, going to maybe be our primary datum potentially. Um, and that might be the reason to lay it down in the front view, but it still works as a back view or a back surface control here. To me, that's the location of that. I just need to locate size and locate my holes, right? And definitely this is when you're using, well, first I'll size them. First size them. This one here, I think I'll size. It'll be easier to place it. I'm going to modify it to and place 2 in front of it, right? 2x. I can get in there. 2x. I will locate them from the bottom. So this one's going to pull out for sure to the side here. And I can dimension this, right? From the bottom up. That might be the only dimension I get there. And then I want to dimension them in the other direction. So, and I think I either have a right side or a left side that are good, both good surfaces to pull from. They're essentially the same. Mine is not correct. 0.18. 8 is what it should be, or what? What's the 0.88? It probably is from my other surface, I bet. Let's see.
Yeah, if you put it to.
You take it out the street.
Let me go.
0.75?
Maybe you just did 874.
Oh, maybe I have the wrong dimension. Oh, wait. Yeah, is that what I have?
Well, what if you just change the position?
Well, oh yeah, yeah, because mine should be, yeah, because it should be, that should be, which way am I going though?
You're just measuring.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Assuming it's on center.
On point. Seven.
Yeah, this one here you're saying, because it's like,
Just round down instead of up.
that's weird. What the heck is mine not round? And then I noticed when I came this other direction, it's not even the right it's not the right dimension either, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it hasn't updated this.
Four-dimensional part.
These can all be true. Yeah, this can be, that can be a little bit tricky, huh? Yeah, that's funny that mine won't round down or round up, I mean. And even 0.88 wouldn't necessarily be the right dimension technically, right? It's like I gotta pull these other dimensions out and see how these are. This one should be from here to here, right? Should be 3/4. That's not one, that one's not gonna come in right. Let me see this one to here. I'm gonna pull that one from the end here.
Yeah, if I potentially, drew my whole 1.75. Oh, wait, the better way.
To move them, I think moving them can be kind of tricky, right?
Like,
It's the joy of parents.
here, go back, or do I have to?
No, you shouldn't have to restart, but we may have to, I think we can delete that feature here. That's a good question. Have I had to do that too much? Definitely true. Like if you have issues, that's kind of fun to troubleshoot actually, to see like how do I know how to do that maybe. That's a good question. It's a little less modifiable. I can't say I've had to make too many like that's interesting. To move this around could be kind of hard actually. Like maybe I would turn on my, if you did some construction work, I'd probably turn on my construction work. So are you saying like the dimension this way was wrong?
Well, I'm right, for, yeah. Oh, when I went too far,
Should, because it should be
it'd be 1.5.
this one right here. So yours is 3/4 over to there. Oh yeah. So if I was to try to change that, I don't know. I'm just kind of interested in messing with this a little bit. Well, you could definitely add back in, right? We could add back in a solid for sure. I don't know, and I kind of wonder if mine, if I shorten this up, like I know you technically maybe this line you drew is like a 1/4 inch too long. And if I was to move this, I don't think that's going to like drive that shape though, because really I'd be like you'd be moving back a 1/4 inch. But see, the shape isn't really, it's like it's not constrained to that, even though I use that geometry to locate it. It's not necessarily constrained to it. So yeah, I think in this case, I probably would fill that back in. I just kind of want to know what that looks like when I do this myself here. And I can't say that's um, yeah, I mean, there might be an extrude faces here to fill that back in. I don't think extrude face is going to do that. It will select that face. Well, yeah, I might. Let me just see if what it would do, like if I fill this thing in here. Which surface am I on? This back surface here? I think we'd have to I may have to fill that in and then redraw it. And this can be tricky to do too. Like if you don't have a surface to reference to say what I will do to what I will do to and we haven't done this too much because I haven't had to like troubleshoot too much yet, but if I've got to fill that in and redraw it somewhere, I think I might have to manipulate my grid a little bit like I'm drawing pictorial drawings. I try to relate it to something like we know. Like this is definitely going to, if I don't reference a surface, it's going to reference off the grid plane that I'm showing here. So I can kind of manipulate that by this little drop down on the coordinates will let me move the grid plane to different surfaces. So I feel like I can choose a few different ones. Like there's a right side one. It's probably not the one I want to draw with. Would it be my left? No, probably not gonna be left. Would it be front? Yeah, like a front surface. That puts the grid plane along the surface that I want to like extrude something from or build something from. The default one that I haven't even moved, we've been on the top plane forever. And that's kind of why my shapes are lying how they are, is because I'm on the top plane. But if I need to fill this in and I can't reference a surface to fill it in to kind of draw from, I think I can move my coordinate plane here to, I chose mine to be front. And now my grid plane is kind of front. And then if I choose like a cylinder to fill this thing in, and I still have that as a center point, I have my construction work here, and that's going to now be on the right plane. Yeah, I can. Now I'm going to fill this in. Were you able to do something? Or did you just fill it in actually? I just filled mine in. Right here. Join it. Yeah, because mine, now that I've filled mine in, probably on my sheet, it's still gonna look like a separate solid essentially. Even though it's filled in, I mean, it almost looks like I can't tell on this drawing that's a hole or a solid actually. So you're saying once you filled it in, join these things or union them. Yeah, like that. Select both of those. Now I probably come back here and I've lost everything. And I don't know why. Oh, I think it's because I know why. It's because I think well, I don't know why actually. That's another issue. Don't do that, whatever you did. Control Z, Control Z. I was trying to think if I actually, when I joined mine, if I was happened to join it to a construction layer or not, but I think I'm still on the visible object layer. Yeah. So that should show up right. I think it just might be that I've got to select. It does act like there's my view. I'm going to go into edit it and select this view. Yeah, that is weird. I'm gonna go back a little bit. I'm at least go back to where I joined mine. There's mine before I joined. Did that on the visible object layer, yes. So I should be able to union those, that to that. I do lose my, it's like once I do, I don't know if you lost this, but I did lose my dimensioning when that happens.
Yeah.
Did you lose everything here? It's like it's changed the shape. It's like it's lost its association with the, which is kind of, I didn't know that would actually necessarily happen. Um, I like troubleshooting stuff like this though. So mine, I would have to redo all that potentially. I would think that I should be able to come into this view and then like it's almost like it's lost its selection. I need to go back in and be able to select it. And it acts like I have a view here, but I can't get my selection view to show up here, right? It's like select view. Yeah. Gonna pull that in there. Yeah, I think there's got to be a way to that I can get back to where I was without. So it's good in some ways and it's horrible in some ways actually. But it's mostly just me like, how do I edit that? I don't know. That's good. The moral of the story is don't ever make any mistakes. No, I'm just kidding. That shouldn't be the moral of the story. Like mistakes are you should be able to plan them.
Understand if I have.
Yeah, that kind of surprises me. I guess I've never had to have to try to do something like that. That's interesting. Okay, I will. I'll troubleshoot that this afternoon. That makes me think that there's a quick way. It's just a matter of me not knowing which that quick way is, I think.
Oh, and the 0.41 would be a 0.05. We changed.
Oh yeah, I gotta get back to my which one were you telling me to change?
Uh, right, like,
This one can be what?
uh, for 0.405.
0.405 if you change it to three dimensions. Yeah, and that's a good, I mean, that's a good argument. Like what, I'll cast back to you guys here so I can finish up mine. Then I'll take a break and jump into the other one. Continue. Yeah, I think we'll come back. Like I think I'll leave everything in mine at two decimal places, but you can't. I mean, I'm not going to be super critical on this, like what your dimensioning is. I think I'll leave mine at two decimal places. Um, when I come into GD&T this thing later, um, maybe we'll adjust some of those. So yeah, maybe we'll pull up that RC4 class of fit and maybe make our tolerances match that. So yeah, that's good. I think I'll just leave mine. But that's interesting. I'm gonna play around with that concept a little bit later and see. I should be able to reselect my views and I should be able to modify and do a bunch of modifications to this necessarily and have my sheet automatically update. So yeah, I've got a research project of my own now to do. So I don't think miner is even showing the right dimension for this too, by the way. Like this should be 3/4, right? That should be 1 and a. So my Yeah, exactly. So mine definitely has some some issues here. Reassociate this to this. Part of it is just maybe the way I chose mine. I didn't choose the actual feature, so it had just had a weird dimension. I just reassociated mine to the actual feature, which is the hole. And if I pull this down, it should stay hopefully the right dimension now. I have the same thing going on here that I want to reassociate it to the actual hole. From there, from here to here. I'm not so sure I'm getting that to reassociate the way I want it to. Back one more. There it is. Got the right dimension. I just need to pull my extension line back to the edge here. Okay. And the other thing I want to do is I'm going, yeah, remember to do this when you have one dimension driving one, but they're on the same linear plane. Just remember to pull these together. It just simplifies your dimensioning and then it makes it explicit that those two are on the same centerline plane. So that's one thing I bust, a lot of people in their drawings that yes, you have the dimensions right. I love it. I just want to like show the uniform nature of those so that dimension can drive both locations. So just kind of watch for that with your center lines in your drawings. And then I just need to clean these up, but I think I'm pretty well located now. Yeah. If the 1.5 inches is a more critical location, we can determine that. That's always based off if I know the parts relationship more. So I might just do a couple of a line type adjustment here or line type scales. Something a little bit that breaks this one up for sure. At least I see a break up there. That's good. I could go a little finer, but that'll be okay. I just need to adjust some spacings and call this one done. And then the next model is pretty quick, I think. Might stagger this a little bit more. I love that though. Oh, I did the wrong dimension. Sorry. Back it up, back it up. I think I'm pretty well done with this one. Just gotta add all my details here.
Oh,
Today's the 9th. Oh yeah, this would be sent to production now. I don't think I wrote that on my last one too. Rev 0 value NA. Changes here. I think I'm back to 1.5, right? 1.5. My grandmother's birthday was the 9th of December. And she wouldn't allow Christmas to start till after her birthday. So I just remember that. And then she'd get a poinsettia for her birthday as well. Always my grandpa would get her a poinsettia. So when I go to my grandma's house after the 9th, I knew like, oh, finally they're under free. We, as a kid, we've been in Christmas mode for weeks. Grandma and grandpa are like super old time and won't go to Christmas until the 9th. It was just my grandma's rule. We're not tired. It's my birthday first, then Christmas, which was pretty funny. This is, yeah, 1108, 3D guide block.
The guy who bought it,
Yeah, these aren't too bad, but and like I say, once my monitor, I just turn that monitor off and I feel like I rest in peace.
in the street. You can't even leave it.
My line types are doing good. Love it.
That's crazy. That's such a weird feeling.
All right. Yeah, I think I forgot to add a description there. Oh, I forgot to finish that. I'll come back and clean that up. Yeah, I'm gonna take just I'm gonna stop that. That's kind of a video that I have a lot of not talking, and then I have a bunch of troubleshooting that did never go well. So